All right, let's see if we can get this video going because my software's not working. All right, mandatos afirmativos con tú. So these are two commands, and we're going to start by giving commands, affirmative two commands, which are very easy. You're going to use the usted form. I'll go back and type that in a minute, but here's an example. It would be camina. Over here it would be come. Here it would be abre. And up here it says to use the usted form, and it says this rule also applies to stem changers. So if I go down to the next line, that's amazing. Okay, we'll just leave that there. If I go down to the next line, then I'm going to do juega, which is the regular usted form of juega, of jugar. It's a stem changer, U to UE. O to UE for volver, so it'd be vuelve. And E to I for pedir, so it would be, oops, I went a little too far. Okay, pide, okay? And then I'm just gonna type usted up here. There we go. Okay, so I've got this absolutely amazing thing for you to remember this. Here they are, of course, di, and then I've got ve, and then I've got se, and then I've got as, and then sal, and then pon, ven, and ten. I remember them that way before I learned this amazing little rhyme or sentence. Dive se because they're all short, two letters, and then as sal because they're not like the others, and then pon ven ten. Pon ven and ten all ended in n, and ven and ten rhyme. So, and by the way, if you're ever going to do something with mantener and give the command, it's going to be manten. Basically, I'm just putting the man, which is the difference between mantener and tener, and I'm putting that in front of the command as well. The only thing here is that I still want you to hear the stress of ten, right? Manten. So I actually need to put an accent on that E, okay? So here's the little saying. It should say Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel has 10 weapons, but say it with a German Arnold Schwarzenegger accent. I am horrible at extra accents, but I can do this one now with my Spanish uh, pronunciation guide. Vin Diesel has 10 weapons. It's awesome. Okay, you're welcome. Please don't make a vine out of that. And now you're probably going to make one. All right, so moving right along. Attach reflexive, direct, and indirect object pronouns to the end of affirmative commands. Add an accent mark to show that the stress remains in the same place. I'm not going to worry about spacing that out. Yes, I am. Remains in the same place. All right. Sorry, this is going to be like the worst video you've ever seen. All right. So example would be dime la verdad. I'm not going to say me di la verdad. I'm going to say dime. So if I'm talking about any command at all in the affirmative form, I am going to definitely say attach the pronoun to the end, and that's any kind of pronoun. So let's say I'm telling you to cook the rice. Rice is el arroz, right? And to cook is cocinar. So the command form of cocinar would be cocina. And it's the end of the verbs in the affirmative form that's sticky, and I'm going to attach my direct object pronoun there. So I'm going to replace el arroz with lo, right? Y'all remember direct object pronouns? They're usually going to be lo, la, los, and las, right? So if I'm trying to figure out what matches el arroz, it's singular and masculine, so lo. So cocínalo is what I want to say, right? But again, I want the stress to stay in the correct spot where it was before. So if I cover up the lo and I pronounce it again, cocina, where do you hear the stress? You hear it in the I, correct? So that's where you would go back and add the accent. If you're not great at figuring out where to add the accent, you can also just count 3 vowels back and put it on that third one back. So I've got 1, 2, 3 vowels, and I put it on that third one. Okay, so cocínalo. I could say wash your hands. So Lavarse las manos is wash your hands, right? Or to wash hands. So lava is the command form, the to affirmative command of lavarse, of lavar. So that would be lava, that's the usted form. So the to affirmative, lava. And then who is washing the hands? You are. So it would be lavate and then las manos. Okay? And these always feel the weirdest to me because it's ending without an S there and I'm still putting a te on the end of it. But that is how you do it. Now, I need to add an accent. And the way that I remind people that you have to put an accent when you add a pronoun to the end is if you can take a second to pretend like you're balanced, or just do it, balance your pencil or pen on your finger. So that's a normal verb like lava, okay? Or cocina. When you add te or lo or whatever, any kind of pronoun to either side of the pencil or pen, it makes it off balance, right? So you have to go back in and add the accent to rebalance the verb, okay? So again, I counted 1, 2, 3 vowels back and lávate las manos, okay? Negative doesn't mean, negative commands, moving on. Negative doesn't mean you're being rude or mean, it just means don't do it. So I could say something really nice to my grandmother like, Grandma, don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. And that's not being rude, it's just me saying don't do something, okay? But you can also absolutely use it in a really rude way. Okay, so to form negative to commands, and I've underlined the way that I say it quickly to remember it. So no, write the yo minus the o and then cross your heart. So that's how I remember it. So step 1, write no because it is a negative command, right? Second step, write the yo form of the verb. Do not get ahead of yourself and take the to form and oppositize it. Because that's not going to work for you because, for example, tener in the to form is tienes, right? So if I just did the opposite ending for that, it would be tienes, right? That is wrong. Boo. So the yo form of tener is tengo. It happens to be a go verb. And I'm going to keep the G, but I'm going to remove the O and add the opposite ending, and then it's tengas. Completely different than tienes as we had before, okay? So you have to do the yo form, don't get lazy. So the next thing I'm going to do is drop off the O. So I started with tango, I removed the O, and then I'm going to cross the heart with the opposite endings. So if it's an AR verb, I'm going to put an ES ending on it, okay? So hablar would be hable, no hables, okay? And if it's another ER verb, excuse me, if it's an ER verb, I'm going to end it with AS. So it'd be no comas tanto, don't eat too much. And then IR is also going to be an AS ending. If I have ER and IR verbs on the same chart, then I'm going to have ER and IR verbs are going to have the same negative to command endings, which is AS. And this would be no abres la boca. Okay, now let's go down to the yogo verbs. So I've taught you the regular stuff, right? We've done affirmative to commands. We've talked about irregular affirmative to commands. They're pretty straightforward. Now we're going to talk about the weird negative to commands. These are not irregular, that's why I've named them weird, but they are a little bit weird and you want to pay attention to them. So the yo form becomes go in the following verbs. Hold on 1 second. All right, I didn't want to waste your time with me thinking about which ones they were. So here are your 8 yo-go verbs. These are great for you to memorize in life anyway, because they're always going to cause problems. So I've got hacer, tener, poner, decir, salir, venir. And by the way, those so far, oops, that should say venir, are all irregular to affirmative commands as well. So that just, they're going to be weird anyway. And then caer and traer. And so the negative to form of these, I don't know if I have room to write no, but I'll try. No hagas. And actually, I'm seeing now that I was supposed to write the yo form, so I'll go back and do it. Okay, so here they all are. no hagas. So I just took the yo form, dropped the o, and then I gave them the opposite ending. And these were all ER or IR verbs. All go verbs are ER or IR verbs. So they're all going to end in AS. So no hagas, no tengas, no pongas, no digas, no salgas, no vengas, no caigas, and no traigas. These are good ones right here for y'all to remember because they look so weird in their infinitive. They look traer, caer, they look very harmless, but they're actually going to be yo-go verbs. If you're wondering um, why juego isn't on there because it's also go in the yo form, it's not actually a go verb because it's a gar verb, so it's supposed to end in g. These other ones did not end in g, or didn't have the g right there after at the end of the stem before we conjugated them, so that's why they're special. All right, so that's the first set of weird ones. The next set of weird ones are CER and CIR verbs changed to ZCO in the yo form. And y'all know that one for conocer would be conozco. So its -2 command would be no conozcas. Okay? And then, but if they are preceded with a consonant, then they are going to be end in ZO. So an example of one of those would be convencer, and the yo form would be convenzo, and the -2 would be no convenzas. Okay? GUIR verbs are going to go in the yo form. So distinguir would be distingo, and again, it is a go verb anyway. Really, the U is kind of weird that it disappears, but it's going to end in go, so it's not actually a go verb. So that would be no distingas. And GER and GIR verbs change to ho in the yo form. So that's like escoger would become escojo, so no escojas. All of these that we just talked about are all ER-IR verbs. Notice the trend, they are the troublemakers. So things to keep in mind, they're always going to end in AS in the -2 command. So no salgas si estás enferma. Next up, no ofrezcas comida basura. Escoger would be escojas. And seguir would be sigas. And this is just a super big fat change, stem change, and then it's also a GUI verb, so it just looks crazy. The yo form of seguir is sigo, FYI. Okay, then we've got cargar and zar verbs, our good old friends. Good news is they were already weird for the preterite, so hopefully we can remember, let me take that off, that they're the same kind of issues in the command form. So since I'm changing sides, it's gonna come up here as well. So car is gonna go to kiss, gar is gonna go to guess, and zar is gonna go to sis. So that would be no saques la basura, no llegues tarde, and no cruces aquí. I would personally tell you to like go through when you get your test or your quiz or whatever and circle anything that has a cargar or zar ending so that you're kind of on alert when you get there. Okay, I'm going to fill out these irregular -2 commands real quick. Okay, so this again makes sense to me because all of these, the first step that I'm supposed to do is find the yo form, and all of these do not have the o for me to remove. So that's why they are irregular. No des, no estés, no sepas, no vayas, no seas. Last but not least, don't forget that if you're using a reflexive pronoun for negative commands, you place them after the no, but before the verb. So for levantarse, I'm going to put that te in the front, and then I'm going to have an es ending because it was an AR verb, so no te levantas. And for comida basura, that's a la, that's a direct object pronoun, so no la comas, don't eat it. Just remember, negatives, it goes between, and affirmatives, it gets attached.